So good evening, everyone, and I welcome you all to the EduFam International's reflective session. And today's session is really an important session because today we are going to discuss about what are the causes and what are the reasons of our problem and our difficulties, stress, anxiety in our lives. So the task which was given to the participant was that they have to interview 5 of their friends and they have to ask the reasons of their unhappiness or their stress or their anxiety. Here we can see that there are money matters, job security, health, thinking ability, isolation, loneliness, forgetfulness, poor concentration, laziness, feeling of excessive guilt, low self-worth, hopelessness about the future, family problems, lack of time management, low level of low level of sportiveness, lack of memory power, low confidence, fear about neighborhood, helpless, improper understanding, delay to get baby, low success, then lack of support, fearness about future, fairness about future, and then postponement and overthinking. So these are some of the problems that is mentioned by one of the participant. Now the other problems are failure to achieve our goals, unacceptable behavior from others, not waking up on time, when people don't do what they told they would, when we end up making wrong decisions, misunderstandings, unhealthy competitions, when things don't work out as we plan, self selfishness, laziness, getting angry or losing control on ourselves, when people take our help and do not reciprocate when we need, people are not being kind, rudeness, when things don't get over on time, when something is wrong when with the family, if the food is not good, if someone tells something inappropriate or is rude, if the clothes are not comfortable, when someone tries to make us do something we don't want to, when people misunderstand us, when we get angry, then arguing, when people blindly believe in what they hear, and feeling of loneliness. Now, my dear friends, after listening to all these issues and problems, reasons for unhappiness, anxiety, not being satisfied in life, uh, not being happy in life, I would just request you all that kindly go through each and every problem once again, okay? But this time, just go through silently. Go through silently, keeping in mind two things. One thing, that if the reason is something that is in our control and we can do remedy for this. And second thing, if the reason is out of our control and we cannot do anything about this. And for this task, you will get 5 minutes time. Please just go through each and every point and just say can, cannot, can, cannot, can, cannot. Like if you think that reason is in your hand and you can control, then say yes, can. And if the reason is something that you cannot control, we cannot control, then we have to say that can't control. So can, cannot, can, cannot. You just try to do this exercise in your own mind. No need of speaking loud and no need of telling me anything. Just do can, cannot, can, cannot. Your time starts now. After 5 minutes, we will be again discussing about this. So the time up. I hope that you all have gone through and you all have seen it closely, that what are under our control and what is not under our control. Now,
I wanted to try Monday.com for a while, but I was
now let's watch this video, and then after that we will be discussing about this in details.
It's been a long time now, and George's bar is still closed. No one knows when it'll open its doors once again. Meanwhile, George has been doing pretty much nothing these days, except for watching TV, surfing the web, and spending time on social media. George used to have a thriving bar business. It was his dream to open up a bar where people can relax and enjoy time with their loved ones, and he was happy that his dream had become a reality. Located in the outskirts of the city, his bar was recognized as a hidden gem, and George would constantly think of ways to satisfy his customers. There were nice forest trails not far away from the bar, and people would often enjoy them before or after visiting his bar. Everyone loved being close to nature, including George himself. George also had a knack for organizing various events at the bar to keep things alive and fresh. George's business was doing well, and he was on a roll. But now, things have changed. What started the previous year was like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It was the year 2020, and the COVID-19 pandemic had reached most parts of the world. Like many people around the globe, George's life was shaken. He never imagined that a global pandemic would ever happen in this lifetime. Because a lockdown was imposed to prevent the spread of the virus, George's business wasn't allowed to operate at that time, so he had no choice but to postpone operations. All that was happening made George feel helpless. George didn't know what would happen to his business, and he was unsure how he could support his employees during this time. He tried to keep all of his staff, but if the government stopped their support, then he would have to let many of them go. Meanwhile, he stayed at home and would only go out to buy groceries and other essentials once a week. He couldn't meet up with his family and friends, so he would stay in touch with them over the phone. Or he would have video calls with his closest friends. After a couple of months of lockdown, the government now allowed the operation of bars at limited capacity. It was a relief for George that they could continue with their operations at the bar. However, he had many doubts as to how they were going to operate. George realized how the pandemic had really taken a toll on his business. They would only have a few customers, given the limited outdoor seating that they had. George was happy that he was able to operate the bar, but with a limited capacity, he was losing money even when his bar was open. As a responsible businessman, he had been saving money when the business was booming, but he knew that money wouldn't last forever. Moreover, he was facing a dilemma because some of his suppliers had gone out of business. He had been working with these suppliers from the start, and he treasured the partnerships that they had formed through the years. And it saddened him that they had to close down their businesses. He didn't know where to find new suppliers, especially during this time. It was like going back to square one. He thought of just scrapping items from the menu and retaining what was left. He didn't know what to do anymore. Every day, as he was reading the news or watching TV, he would hear about the COVID-19 infections and deaths. He was feeling hopeless. Is it time to close down the business that I've loved all these years? He thought. At the same time, he was also struggling with his personal life. Now, more than ever, he realized how he hadn't made much effort to reconnect with his estranged son in the recent past. He remembered the time when his family was happy together. However, his past mistakes have turned it all around. He remembered that life-changing evening when he argued with his wife. Now, he and his son have lost touch, and this breaks George's heart. He wanted so much to be there for him, especially during these uncertain times. Having realized this, he had been trying to contact his son for the past few weeks, but to no avail. George's world was shrinking day by day, and he was starting to lose hope. One evening, George got the notification reminder on his phone about an online meditation session. He couldn't remember when and why he registered for it, but he concluded that it was to clear his mind from overwhelming thoughts. The session was starting in 30 minutes, so he grabbed a quick snack and got ready for it. The session started with a breathing exercise. George closed his eyes, inhaled deeply, and exhaled. It felt great. After a few minutes of breathing, they went into guided meditation taught by the instructor. And at the end of the session, she shared the concept called circle of influence. She said that all things in life fall in one of the two circles, circle of influence or circle of concern. Your circle of influence represents things in your life that you can change or influence, such as where you live, what you learn, your attitude, and so on. On the other hand, your circle of concern represents things that you have no control over, such as traffic, the news, past mistakes, others' behaviors, and the economy. As with coronavirus, people might feel restricted and limited by their actions, but this is only because people are focusing on things in their circle of concern. Because we can't change the pandemic, we have to adapt to the changing environment. The session was over, but it made George think about many things. It was late in the evening, but he went for a walk. And the more he was thinking about the concept, the more he realized that he had been focusing on the wrong things. He was thinking only about the restrictions and limits, but he never explored the idea of opportunities. It's time to change the way I look at things, George thought to himself. The following day after waking up, George made a plan of how he wanted to move forward with his life, focusing on his circle of influence. Instead of dwelling on what he can't control, he decided to focus on what he can control. He made a contingency plan for his business that detailed alternative ways to navigate the business during this pandemic and beyond. He started looking for alternative supplies, and he found out that there were many options. In fact, he realized that some of the old suppliers have been increasing the price of the goods, but now he was able to find the same products for much cheaper. After having found new suppliers, he then created a new and improved menu that contained their signature items as well as several new ones. He decided to rent the empty lot beside his bar, and he transformed it into a beautiful garden setup for outdoor dining, making sure that social distancing guidelines were followed. Now, there was more space for customers to enjoy outdoor dining safely. This increased their capacity and income. Meanwhile, he invested in their pickup and delivery system. Because many people were cooped up at home, he thought of bringing the bar experience to the people for them to enjoy in their own homes. His craft beers and cocktails, as well as delectable appetizers and meals, were now available for delivery. As for his personal life, he made efforts to make things better. First of all, he reached out to his ex-wife, apologized for his past transgressions, and discussed ways they could work together to support their child whilst living separately. Instead of just leaving him missed calls, which is what he used to do, he found out what his son was interested in, and then he sent him a message that he would help him to achieve that goal. He also asked his ex-wife to talk with their son on his behalf and ensure that he knew George had the best intentions. After George started to focus on things in his circle of influence, his life started to change for the better. The business was going well, having adapted to the new situation. Their customers loved how the bar was able to come up with innovative solutions, creative ideas, and wonderful initiatives amidst the pandemic. By investing his time and energy in things that he can control and accepting things that he can't, George was able to make progress in reaching his goals in life. Even though the pandemic wasn't over yet, George was making progress as he focused on his circle of influence while doing things step by step. One day, George received a phone call that he didn't expect. It was his son. They had an amazing conversation, and George promised to help his son to achieve his goals in any way he could.
Yes, now, my dear friends, first of all, what was the reason of George's anxiety? And then in the second part, how George was able to come out of that anxiety, and then how he changed himself. Yes, Gulshan.
Ma'am, the reason of his anxiety was his business is going down because of the pandemic. And in the second part, he focused on the circle of influence. So he achieved, his uplift his business and improve his relations with his family.
Okay, very good. Yes, Khadija.
Ma'am, initially George was focusing on the things which were not in his control. And because of that, he started losing his customers. And due to this pandemic, he got more anxious. Then later on, when he looked at things, he saw the things which he was able to control. And through that, he got back into the business and also the family.
Yes, Prema.
Then one more thing, he didn't stop elsewhere. He what is that? He keep on trying to do something to how to come up from that situation. For that, trying is very important. That is.
Okay, that's really good. So in the initial part, we have seen that George was focusing on the things that is not in his control, like how pandemic has come. He was thinking why people stopped coming. Now my bar is closed. I'm not able to do my business. Now everything finished. My life is ruined. So he was focusing on those areas. While when he attended a session and then his mind changed. From that day onwards, he started thinking that how he can adapt as per the situation and how he can do the best in the present situation when people cannot come in the bar, but the bar can go to their houses, isn't it? So this is just the change of the thought. Work is same. George is providing them the snacks and drinks and beverages and all those things that he was doing. Now, instead of people coming here, he can send the things there in the house. And again, he can do the business. So it was only possible when he changed his mindset, his attitude. If he was focusing on the closed door, so then naturally, if there are like four more sides, one side the door is closed, and if you keep looking at that door, then you cannot look at the right side door, the left side door, and the behind door. Maybe these three doors are open, but we are only looking at the closed door. So then naturally we will always be under this impression that the door is closed and there is no opportunity for me. That's what happened in the George case. But once he changed his mindset, then the things started improving, even his personal life and his professional life. And you all will agree with me that our personal and professional life both are interconnected, you know, that if we are not able to do something good in our professional life, then that affects our personal life as well. We will feel suffocated, we will fight unnecessarily with the people, we will be irritated, and we will not be in the good mood, and small things will make us angry. And the same thing happened that if we are not happy in the personal life, then that affects at our workplace also. So human being is not a machine that you can switch on at the workplace and switch off at the family life. You know, both the places you are same. Your emotions, your heart, your feelings, your faculties, your abilities, everything carries along with you. So then if you are not happy at one place, you cannot be happy at the other place. That will affect the other place also. So today in this session, we are going to learn about that what I can control and what I cannot control. This is called the circle of control. Okay. So the circle of control tells us that the things that we cannot control, we have to keep out of our mind, out of our circle, out of our heart. That these things I cannot control. Like suppose I am born in a village. Now I cannot change that. So that is out of my circle. That is out of my circle of control. Like suppose I am born, uh, suppose I am born with a, I have my father and mother, set of father and mother. And I want like, okay, my father and mother should be American or British or European. And this is my dream that I would have born in such family. So this is out of my control, isn't it? Now I am already born here in this world. I cannot change my parents. They will remain same. I cannot change my birthplace. Even in the passport, throughout your life, it will go like that, that, okay, you are born in Madhubani district in Bihar. That cannot be changed. The birthplace will remain same. Or you are born in Delhi, or you are born in Makkah, and you are born in Chennai, or you are born in Tamil Nadu, wherever. So there are certain things that is not in our control. Like if others follow the rules of social distancing or not, this is not in our control. But what I am following, that is in my control. You will find there are some people, they will always be talking about others. They don't do this, they don't follow this. Look how he is crossing the road. Look how he is doing this. So if somebody is doing something wrong, that is not in my control. I'm not a police. I have not been given authority to control that person. But what I can control is that I can avoid doing the wrong things. I can avoid if somebody is saying bad words for me. Okay, like suppose Gulshan is angry with me and Gulshan is saying lots of bad things about me. So can I shut Gulshan's mouth? No, I don't have any control on her mouth. She has full freedom on her own mouth to speak whatever she wants to speak. So she will speak. Now, what I can do is, what in my control is that I can simply be unaffected by those words. I can listen from here and I can remove from there, and I cannot react on that. I can control my reactions. And I can simply say, okay, let her say whatever she is saying, it is not going to affect me. Or otherwise, I can take each and every word from her and then I start fighting with her. I start arguing with her. I start complaining about her. I start making a fuss over it. And then the whole day has gone in only thinking about what Gulshan has told me. So now there are two things we have to decide, that what we should do, what we should not do. If the things are not in our control, then we have to just leave it, ignore it. We can control our reaction towards that we have to control. At times, you know, the teachers used to come to me and then tell me about certain things, that she was saying this, she was saying that about you. I simply asked whether she has sent you to me to inform me. They said, no, ma'am. Then I said, then why did you come? Because I don't want to listen. If I will listen, naturally, I have good impression about Khadija, that she's a nice girl, she's a beautiful girl, she is active girl, she is intelligent girl. And if Gulshan is coming and saying, Khadija was saying that, oh, ma'am's classes are so boring. So then naturally, I will change my impression about Khadija, isn't it? So I will ask Gulshan that, why did you come to me? Did Khadija send with a message to me, go and tell ma'am? No, if she has not sent you, then why did you come? Let me be in my own feeling, in my own opinion about Khadija. Let me be in my own paradise, where I am happy that, okay, all my students are happy and they are learning. So we have to control there. We cannot control the person who has said about me, but we can control the person who is carrying the tales. And we can say, why are you carrying the tales? You will not believe that most of the fightings, most of the arguments, most of the relationship ill feelings in the relationship comes when there are the carriers. They carry the tales from one place to another place with lots of spices, with lots of addition of their own thoughts and their own words. If we curb that, then there won't be any problem at all. This is my way that I am explaining to you, but my mother-in-law was like naturally, she was in a remote village and she was very busy with the children, but she was very intelligent. She delivered 15 children. Can you imagine? She was such a great iron lady. Physically also she was strong, mentally also she was strong, and she was a very bold lady. So what happened? She married one of her daughter, like my sister-in-law, in the same village, you know and when you are in the same village, the maids, those who will be working, they will be going to all the houses to work. Then they will come and they will say some tale. Oh, I saw your daughter there and she was washing the utensils and she was washing so many utensils and washing so many clothes, and she is under such type of situation, in the miserable situation. Then same sentence, my mother-in-law said, why did you come to me? Has she sent to you? Has she sent you to me? Go and inform my mother about this. Then they said, no. Then said, why did you come? Now you don't come to me at all with any tale or any story or any news from that house. I don't want to listen anything. So if we curb that, otherwise, some foolish women or some women, those who don't have the strong willpower, they will do? They listen to these tales and stories from the maids, and then they go and fight with them, that why my daughter is like this in your house and you are not providing comfort to my daughter. So the things that we cannot control, we have to ignore it. The things we can control, we have to keep the control of that. So we cannot control the actions of others. We cannot control the people's motive. Okay, like suppose somebody has given me any gift, so I have to accept it with grace, with lots of gratitude. We don't know that what is the motive. If the motive is some bad intention, we are not in the heart of someone to go and find out and dig in the heart and try to know the motive of the person. That is not in our hand. What is in our hand? That if the person has given something, we have to accept it with grace, with dignity, with gratitude. Okay, then suppose if you went to the toilet and you found that there was no toilet paper in the toilet, or there is no water in the toilet. Okay, so then what will you do in that situation? Because that situation is not in our control. So there are certain options, like if it is controllable, then you should not use the toilet. Okay, if it is not controllable, then you have to find the other means. You have to go and find out your own tissue papers, your own toilet papers. So like that, we have to try to find out the solutions to the situations, to the problems. Now, what is in my control? So that is like my positive attitude is my control. Then how I'm kind towards other people, that is in my control. How I react to the situation, that is in my control. How I enhance my capabilities, that is in my control. So then how I can enhance my degrees, that is in my control. How I can enhance my education, that is in my control. How I can be more kind, polite, and generous with the people, that is in my control. How I can be more forgiving for the people, that is in my control. So now what we are going to do is that you have to take a piece of paper, and I believe that you all must be carrying your diary and pen with you. So please take a paper in your hand and pen, and then on that you have to draw a circle like this, okay? And then as per your situation, you please write what is here out of control, like that we cannot control. So those things you write out of control. Like our boss is out of our control. If the boss is someone who is not very polite, not very kind, so this is not in our control. What is in our control? Change of job is in our control. Okay. So instead of changing the boss, what we have to do? We have to think of changing our job. So likewise, there are many things that is in our control and there are many things that is out of our control. So please take a piece of paper and pen and then you look at your own life, look at your own activities, your own resources, your own family members, their support, and then you write that what you can control and what you cannot control. And especially when you are writing this, look at your stressors. You know, what are the things that is giving you stress, anxiety? What are the things that is giving you the problems, the difficulties, the challenges? And because of that, you are worried. You are not very happy as you should be. So then you make a judgment about those things. Out there, you will find that there are 90% things that is not in our control. And we are worried about that. Only 10% things you will find is in our control, and we should be worried about that, and we should try to find the solutions about that. So please make this circle of control, that what is in your control, what is out of the control. Your attitude is in your control. Your actions are in your control. You dealing with the people is in your control. Okay, you waking up in the morning, like somebody has given that problem is not waking up in the morning. That is in your control. So you write in the control, that is in the control. But if suppose somebody is like Khadija lives in a hotel where there is no non-veg food available, okay? So that is out of control. So she should not be worried about that. What she has to do is she have to find out the alternative way, that where she can find non-veg halal food and she can go once in a week, maybe once in a month, and then she can eat. If day and night she is just speaking about this, like when I went to Maldives, it was my situation, you know. So in Maldives, what happened? There was no fresh chicken available. Either you take the frozen one, and that I don't like at all, the frozen things, and then or you have to take fish, and fish is sea fish. And we hardly eat sea fish because there is lots of smell in the sea fish. So then what happened, that I was initially only worried about fresh chicken. I used to talk about fresh chicken. I used to call everyone about fresh chicken. There is no fresh chicken available. I used to go to the store and ask the people, okay, if it is not available in this island, is there nearby islands where I can get from there, from those islands? They said, yes, you can get from those islands, but the price will be 4 times more than the regular price. I said, okay, even I'm ready for that. You just get me, but they couldn't get. So then later on, I realized that why I am focusing only one thing that is not available. There are many other options available. I can go for those options. So then I started exploring the options, that what is the best option that I can replace the frozen chicken with that items. Then I started uh, liking the grilled fishes, like the full fish, take and then grill it. Then after grilling, I find that it is as tasty as the pond fishes or the river fishes, we can say. So in this way, when we are focusing only on those things that is not available, then we will always be in the trouble. We will always be in tension. But if we are focusing on those things that is in our control, that we can enhance, we can do, we can work hard on that, then we will find the satisfaction and solution for the life issues. So please make this. You will have 5 minutes time for this task. Please take a piece of paper and then you make a circle, beautiful circle. This is not, I have just drawn it with annotation. You can draw beautifully and then you can write that this is your circle of control, this is out of control, and this is in your control. And write as per your own situations.